welcome, everyone. We are here with our after show for episode 4 of The Idol, which was titled Stars Belong to the World. A very perfect title for tonight's episode because there were some stars. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, oh, no, Tedros, don't do this to my best friend or one of my friends, close friends since I was a kid. Don't do this to him. And all of a sudden, she goes from don't hurt him to, okay, do what you do. Go ahead, punish him for hurting me. A wolf in sheep's clothing, y'all. But we have the scene play out. And Tedros is shocking him, trying to get the truth for hurting Jocelyn. And by hurting Jocelyn, he's referring to why did you allow Jocelyn's mom manipulate, to beat her, to take advantage of her? Why didn't you do anything? I did do something. I tried to do something. I tried to speak up. And the reason she would stop me, and it goes even further down, is he says that Jocelyn's mom made him sign a contract to stop singing. Jocelyn's like, he's lying, this, that, and the other. But we find out, y'all, that it was Jocelyn that stunted his career, that put his career on hold, that had her mom, had him sign the contract. Because he says that she's in control of everything. Now, this is the question I have for y'all is, by everything, do we think that Jocelyn's mom was this big bad wolf in an extent that she was the one that was forcing this fame, this lifestyle on her daughter, was beating, abusing her daughter to get the talent out of her daughter? Or do we think it was Jocelyn who, dark stuff, but like having her mom do all this stuff, beat me in front of these people to make it seem like I'm this young girl getting abused by my mom? But in hindsight and behind closed doors, she was telling her mom to do this to get the best out of her. This is again, man, this is where the show like, oh, okay, what's going on here, right? Some really twisted stuff, man. And again, the question is, do you believe Xander or do you believe Jocelyn? By the end of the episode, I got my answer. But the question I have for y'all is, who do you believe? And just to pose mine, Jocelyn, I think she is the manipulator. Like, and I've said, like, again, you can watch the tapes. I said this, I think a couple, episode 1, I said that I feel like Jocelyn, there's more to her character. Like, I think that I said it last week, that she poses to be kind of incompetent. She poses to kind of pretend like she doesn't know what's going on, but she definitely knows what's going on. Lily Depp is a really great actress. Good actress, man. And she really is showing her chops in this show. Like, I think that she's a really great actress because when we see that switch and you see that tear in her eye, think about episode 1, the very first scene of the show was her doing the photo shoot. Photographer, laugh, be sexy, this, that, and the third, cry. And she was able to do that at a drop of a dime. She was able to switch up her persona, switch up her personality, switch up her attitude so quickly. Manipulating situations, that's some good stuff, man. And again, that's why I say Lily Rose Depp is a really good actress, and she's really doing a good job in the show. Now, in retrospect, looking back at it, Jocelyn allowed all that stuff to happen, right? She doesn't allow anything to happen without it going through her. So I love that kind of reveal. Again, it makes the audience think if he's lying or if she's lying. I think it's really good stuff, man. Again, I wish the show just would have done a better job of handling that more. As that's happening, Xander says, she's even worse than her mom. And while he's saying that, and again, I'm not on his side by any means, but I want y'all to notice that Tedros is kind of surprised by this. And I think what I mean by surprise is that he has this moment of like, wait a minute, have I been getting played? Have I been getting manipulated this whole time? Now, I think he's dismissive of it because he's like, no, she ain't been playing me. But I love that moment there, man, because he has a moment of like, kind of like, wait a minute, hold up. Has the player been getting played? I'm not saying he's a player. I think he's terrible. I'm just saying, like, in his mind, he thinks he's a player, right? But I love that stuff there, man. I really do. And it goes back to later in this episode, when he's on the steps with Jocelyn getting on with Mr. Rob. Didn't feel bad for him, but I'm like, yes, hell yeah. Now you know what it feels like to be manipulated, to be taken advantage of, to be played. I love that scene. So again, the show at its moments has these great little character moments, great character beats, nice little reveals. that it leads up to. So I really enjoyed that scene a lot, guys. And again, the question in the comments I have for you all is, who do you believe? Do you believe Jocelyn? Do you believe Xander? Look at that face there. People are gonna be like, no, Team Jocelyn, I root for you all day. She can do no wrong. Which is, again, the beauty of the show is you can have people picking sides and falling in love with these characters, but I don't think the show has done a good enough job to do that. Look at that face when she tells Tedros again. It's some good stuff, man. It's some good stuff. She's been the villain this whole time. It's a lot of bull crap with this show, but there's some diamond in the rough. Isaac tells Xander, I feel bad for you. I'm going to let you go. And Tedros sees the talent in you, but you have to do a favor for him. I want y'all to remember that. 17-year-old Chloe, she tells Jocelyn why she came to the party because she's mad at you. Why would she be mad at me? Well, because you're sleeping with her. She didn't say man, but you're sleeping with Tedros. And, she was all upset because you guys are in this relationship that wasn't a part of the plans. Because again, guys, go back to the tapes, man. I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back. Not that this show is the most complex show. A lot of stuff is predictable. I'm just saying. I said back in episode 1, I feel like that she set all this up. I'm referring to Diane. She set up the club thing, whatever, and we already established that when they revealed that Diane and Tedros were in cahoots. Who was that? Episode 3? Or episode 2? So as that's happening, Jocelyn, again, she goes from, wait a minute, I thought, and this is the kind of, I guess, the twist of the episode, if you want to call it that, is as a viewer, and I want to know in the comments, do you all have a moment where you were like, yes, Jocelyn finally knows that Tedros, even though, again, if we're playing into the idea that she was allowing him to think that he was controlling her, but she didn't know that he was sleeping with Diane and that Diane was setting her up. So like she thinks it's just like the meta-ness of the, a mirror watching a mirror watching a mirror. She thought so she was in control of the whole situation. But now she finds out that Diane, who she just thought was a backup dancer, no harm, no foul. And maybe this is where I'm getting at. Maybe she didn't feel as bad as far as Tedros taking advantage of her, but more so that it was a female that she looked upon like lesser than her was in cahoots with someone taking advantage of her. Is that where you all think that this kind of the devastating look that we have from Jocelyn, this devastating reveal that Jocelyn gets, was more so that she was like, I can't believe F Tedros, he's harmless. He has a rat tail. But I allowed my backup dancer to somehow, some way, work her way into a situation, work her way into getting my song. Is that what that look comes from, guys? That Jocelyn felt disgusted that Diane was able to get one over on her. Well, while that is happening, and my gosh, my man was on speed dial. Jocelyn texts her ex-boyfriend, which again, I don't know if her ex-boyfriend was the one that had all that stuff on her face in episode 1, or if it was someone else. But we knew a couple weeks ago that he cheated on her, and that's why they broke up, unless we were to assume that. But Rob is now in the house having a good old time with Tedros. They're having, some shots. Escalate the alpha male in the room, and he's drunk and doing karate kicks and, getting close. And shout out to Rob, man. Rob didn't stand down, because I'm thinking of my homeboy in the store last week that just allowed, Tedros to talk down to him. As well as I'm thinking about the personal chef that let Tedros slap him. Like, I'm just so glad that Rob didn't punk out and be like, all right, man, you win. Like, he was like, nah, bro, he kept telling him to. I don't know if y'all caught that. Rob kept saying to him, I'm gonna play, we can play fight, but if you get any closer, I might have to show you, when I'm really about. I thought that was just kind of funny. Jocelyn comes in, runs in this man's arms, and it's like, oh, I'm so blah, blah, blah. And I can't remember the line that Rob said, but he's like, oh, your boyfriend, or like whoever Tedros is, did you know he was I can't remember what he said, but it was something like silly. But Jocelyn dismissed him so quickly. Again, this whole entire show, we've been led to believe that Tedros tells her to speak, when to eat, when to dance, when to sing, controlling everything. You take care of me with last week's finale of the episode. She allowed all that, man. This is the real Jocelyn. This is the real Jocelyn, man. She can, woo. I was sipping, I was talking about Love and Hip Hop earlier. This is the shit that I was watching with Love and Hip Hop. Like, damn, these people are so evil. All the sex scenes with Tedro and Jocelyn this season has been flat as a pop that's been sitting out for 3 hours. None of the sex scenes have been sexy at all. Like Lily is, she's a very attractive young lady. Tedro's not so much. All of the sex scenes have been very lukewarm at best. But the scene between Rob and Jocelyn getting it on, y'all, was what I think the intent of the sexual getting, maybe getting the audience at home being like, turning off, making sure the blinds are closed so the neighbors don't think they're watching porn or whatever. It's like none of those scenes were hot at all. But I'm just saying, Rob and Jocelyn, that was hot. That was some sexy HBO, late at night type of viewing, man. That's the sexiness that I think the show has been trying to capture, but hasn't been able to do because Tedros is just the disgusting person with a rat tail. But anyway, y'all, as that's going on, again, Tedros is outside banging on the door, baby, let me in. Rob not tells her, he's essentially telling us as an audience, the reason they broke up was because Jocelyn kind of encouraged this, that she didn't want to be in a single person relationship, to go explore. He thinks, again, Jocelyn's great at making these men think that they are needed by her. Nah, bro, it's the other way around. So they're hooking up. Oh yeah, I got to do this one more time before we wrap up this breakdown because I just love it. I need to put it on replay. Keep crying, bro. Keep crying. I love it. Because he's such a despicable character. Bob, booty call, go back on his press tour. He runs into Xander. He sees them. He's like, hey, what's up, bro? It's been a minute. Yada. Do you mind taking this photo with my friend here? She's a big fan of yours, right? And he's like, sure, man. I'll take a quick photo of you. Whatever. No harm, no foul. Xander takes the photo. Damn, man, like that was not what I wanted. Like, delete that photo, and he leaves. Back to what Isaac told Xander when he was cleaning him. He said, Tedros sees talent in you, but you're going to need to do a favor for him. If I'm going to let you go, you need to do a favor. So my question for y'all at home is, this favor, it's kind of weird because how would have Tedros didn't know that Rob was coming over, right? So like, how would he I guess he just had that, Uno card, saving that card, like whenever I need it, I'm going to have it. So after Tedros is crying outside, he might have texted Xander, hey, favor cashing in right now. And I got many more I want to use for you. I want you to take a photo of this actor, Rob. I'm assuming he's a big actor. He said he's leading a superhero movie. I want you to take this photo of him hugging, this girl who's, half clothed. And this is the angle. Does he want Rob to look bad for Jocelyn? Like, he just hooked up with his girlfriend, and then Jocelyn sees this photo of him hugging, this girl who's half naked, and like she's gonna feel bad. That doesn't seem like that would bother her. I mean, he already cheated on her. I mean, and it seems like she doesn't really care. I might be wrong in saying that. Or is Tedros gonna use this to like mess up Rob's career by having him taking this photo with this half naked girl, and the headline reads, I don't know, him taking advantage. I don't know, because maybe the girl comes out and says, no, he touched me. He gave me a hug. I didn't want him to do that. He was groping me, touching me. Like, I don't know if they're going to spin it that way and make Rob seem like he's a predator. He's inappropriate. He's cheated on his pop star. Now he's going out for his next victim. Like, I don't know the angle. And who's to say this is even the angle from Tedros? This can be Xander doing his own, trying to get back at Tedros, right? So that's the question I have for you all is, who is this from? Is this from Tedros? Is this from Xander? Is this the favor that he wants him to do? And if this is the favor, is it to make Jocelyn jealous that Rob just, smashed and grabbed, and next he's moving on to the next girl literally minutes later? Or if this is to damage his career and make it seem like he's harassing this girl. And now I'm even thinking about it, going back to that line that Destiny said, that there's kids in this house. By kids, teenagers. She's underage. Maybe she's 17. She's at this party. There's drugs. There's sex. There's this movie star, underage girl, ruining his career. Is that the angle? If that's the angle, we got one episode. How are they going to tie that into Jocelyn, Manipulator, Tedros, Diane, Destiny, Chloe? Goddamn, that's a lot of plots to wrap up in an hour. So again, man, this show has these like interesting moments and drama and complexity within characters and going into the minds of these terrible people, toxic people. But next week's the finale. So we'll see, man, how it all wraps up. To wrap up this breakdown portion, again, we're live now with the live audience. Come and join us. We're going to be back next week for the finale. But wrapping up the breakdown, let me know in the comments, those watching the replay, pros, cons, thoughts, deeper meanings. What'd you take away with it? I think this is the best episode of the season, but let me know in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We will be back. Join us next week for the live after show for the finale that I didn't know was coming because I thought it was 6 episodes. But join us next week. You all have been awesome. Peace out.